Hello, I'm going to present my final case study today on flu in the workplace. Let me share my screen. So this is my case study that I'm going to present today, which I did at WeHealth as an intern. Flu in the workplace. To give you a little bit of overview of the project and the company, WeHealth believes in bringing innovation based on research to improve the lives of people. At the time, I roughly spent about 2 months on the project, and these are the tools I used, mainly Figma, FigJam, Webflow, Asana, etc. I led the project alongside Victoria, who is the head of design at WeHealth. Research goal was to observe and understand the participants' behaviors and attitudes around flu, to identify opportunities and to better inform the product strategy later in the ideation phase. My 4 research questions were as follows. What are participants' beliefs and emotions around seasonal flu, common cold, and COVID? What do they think about it? How do they react to it? Do participants have any desires, goals, or problems during flu season? Do they use anything to currently solve that problem? That was the 3rd one. And if so, do they desire additional solutions? Understanding their needs and behavior was done to inform the persona creation and product strategies. Next is my research methods. I used 4 methods. First, I started with planning. Then I quickly jumped into secondary research, which means that I did a lot of desk research, read a lot of articles, met with science interns at WeHealth, and Matthew and other experts like Joanna and Dr. Lawton, Dr. Minaz, etc. Secondly, I did some quick comparator analysis. After that, I started my primary research, screening and recruiting participants. I interviewed about 8 people. After that, I quickly jumped into the last phase of my research, which is the most important, research synthesis. I used affinity mapping for it, and then later on, I developed persona and how might please based on the insights I found from the interviews. Next, this is my list of deliverables and timeline during the project. I will go over each phase now quickly. Desk research is right here, the competitors analysis. This is a list of all the competitors. I identified direct and indirect competitors. Direct means they are very similar to what we intend to do. And indirect means they are similar, but slightly different, have different goals, but they're still related to flu. So it's important to study them. So I think the first 4 were indirect, and the last 3, I would consider them as direct. So here's a description about them. Then I quickly started to analyze and compile my results into SWOT table. SWOT stands for strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. To give you a quick summary about the strengths and weaknesses, I think mostly the wearables either were detecting vital signs like body temperatures and heart rate, which gave some indication of bodily abnormalities, and that's how they were able to sense the infections, the signs of infection. Oura Ring was the only one that has change in temperature detection. Major weaknesses were that if the page was hard to navigate, the app was hard to navigate, and if the chat was getting overwhelming, that was another issue. Major threats was the fear of privacy, difficulty in navigation, and accuracy issues. If these things occur, they will quit using the app. and my primary research, which I will go over in a little bit, also stresses a lot on privacy and navigation issues and accuracy. So next is primary. According to the science intern at WeHealth, and again, a lot of literature review that I did, most transmission of flu happens at workplaces, in the workplace and schools. And obviously people at home are also getting affected because of that. They're at high risk since they live in the same close proximity. My recruiting criteria, therefore, was somebody who is working or going to school, 18 or older, and living in the United States. This is the participant information, their gender, age, occupation, where they live, and how I recruited them. So conducting interviews, I think this time my recruiting surprisingly went very fast, and that's a good thing. So I conducted the interviews. My script was semi-structured with a storytelling approach, and I tried to use open-ended questions. I tried to keep it casual so that the participants feel comfortable talking to me. After conducting research interviews, I jumped into research synthesis, the most important phase, where I bubble up what participants said into pain point or pain point categories, which we call user insights. And we use those user insights to inform the product strategy. So let's go over the insights. The first one, working from home is not for everyone. So as you can see, the participants said that there is a culture at work that we are expected to show up for work no matter what. So these people have a lot of pressure to show up at work. They don't have an option for working at home just because the way their occupation is, like food services, teachers, healthcare providers, they have to be at work to do work. They can't work from home. Social distancing is altering their lives. A lot of people reported that their lives have altered, social and professional. Before pandemic, they used to go anywhere, but now things are very different. Flu feels 100 times worse than cold. You can see that on top of cold symptoms, most people had like confusion in their head, appetite loss, they had high temperatures. 2 participants reported that they got pneumonia. So after taking antivirals, they were on antibiotics for a long time. So it took a long time for them to fully recover. Next, the insight says that shows interest in trying wearables, mobile devices, and other technologies like surveillance detection, but they don't know what those technologies were. So they were like, I'm willing to try something like that. I think I've never used something like this before, but this sounds interesting. I think the wearable devices will be super convenient. I use my phone all the time. These are some of the things that they said. They also said, like, I would like to try surveillance technology. I don't know exactly how it would work though. But they showed high interest in trying technology for flu. Additionally, one of the participants also said, if there was an exposure at Walmart, I would like to know so I can avoid going to Walmart. Not just workplace, commute via public transport to work is also scary. So these are some of the things they said while showing high interest in technology. Next insight says, express concerns about future use of technology. This was interesting to notice because they were imagining the product in their head. Since this was not evaluative research, but information is very powerful. But on the flip side, I will be scared to know everything. So I was sensing a little bit of anxiety there, but again, it would be interesting during evaluative research to see if they actually have these kind of anxiety or issues. I want to know how many people are using the app. That will give me some idea on accuracy of the app. It is up to the person. So I might be worried about false positives. I want people to be honest. These are some of the things they said about the accuracy of the app. What else? Yeah, I think that's about it. To make it 10, the app should clearly communicate about privacy and accuracy. So some concerns there. Next insight says that no hesitation expressed on disclosing positive flu results. This is surprising. This was very surprising for me to discover that they already know that disclosing an anonymous test results happens anyways with government. So most people said that I would share my results with others in a heartbeat. No issues sharing test results, as long as the app clearly communicates about privacy. Next is hesitant to share location. So even if you tell them that the app is anonymous, they have very little idea of what that means. They still think that location is collected. Like one of the participants said, anonymous means that my identity will not be associated, but location will be collected. I do not believe in Google, the next participant says. They say it anonymous, but I do not believe them. So a little bit of hesitancy noticed there. The very last insight, thoughts on Bluetooth technology. Most of them did not know what Bluetooth is. I think 6 participants were unclear on it. One of the participants said, I think it has something to do with connecting devices. I do not know more. 2 participants who knew what Bluetooth was, they had hassle connecting devices. If and when that happened, it didn't happen very often, but that was an occasional issue for them. Next, all of this primary research led into development of personas. These are like imaginary users. We don't call them users, but they're like more like participants at this stage. But they help us empathize with the users, the end users. And I based them on the research I conducted, the primary and the secondary, mainly primary. So this is Sally and this is Sam. Sally, she is a teacher in New York City. She lives with her teenager and her 90-year-old father. She tries to go to school and focus on her career, does everything right, gets vaccinated, eats healthy, but still has problem. Her problem is that she's so scared to bring illnesses home to her father. And she's a caregiver to her father. So Sally's needs are as follows. She's concerned about the false positive. She would like to know more about the number of users using the app. Or any wearable devices or other things. While receiving an exposure alert, she would like to know what the other person did. Did they self-quarantine or not? Meet Sam. Sam is he's a chef in Los Angeles. He works pretty much all day, like 16-hour shift in a very close indoors and with a lot of people. He has a 5-year-old son, doesn't believe in getting vaccinated. He just started doing that until he got flu 5 years ago and started getting vaccinated every year. So he looks for solutions. He's eager to try the technology. He's willing to do it. However, he feels overwhelmed with the thoughts of having multiple devices. He's also looking for a cost-effective solution because he's on limited income. And Sam would tell people at workplace to use the technology as well. So he's pretty open and broadcasting flu solutions. So next is driving the beginning of ideation phase. Based on Sam's and Sally's needs, I constructed impact versus effort graph and how might be questions. So sorry, I constructed how might be questions, and then to prioritize them, I arranged them on impact versus effort graph. So something that has a very low impact, high impact and low effort, those are the quick wins and ideal things that we would like to do first. The major project, however, is high impact and high effort. I would design these solutions in future, and during evaluative research, I would test these solutions. Something that is very low impact and high effort, I wouldn't waste my time on it. I would eliminate that. And something that is low impact and low effort, maybe we don't have anything here, but if there is something here, I would maybe do it at the end. Not a priority, but something that is very high impact. These two are our priorities. For the next step, so we started with the problem statement and assumptions, initial assumptions about the product and users. And I did the primary research and secondary research, expanding from the problem statement. After that, I synthesized and constructed how might we questions. So I'm right here in the process, revised problem statement. And based on the statements that I have, which is that how might we questions, I would now generate, now I would diverge into rapid ideation phase to design solutions. So the first thing I would do is make a list of all the ideas and new set of assumptions, also new set of how might we questions, and prioritize them. And I would test these. So the research happens in the second phase as well, which we call evaluative research. So based on the information gathered from the users doing usability testing, while testing those solutions will inform us further about the end users. And I would iterate on it, and I would repeat these cycles until I make the product perfect. And that would be our minimum viable product. And finally, we ship that. My reflections, embrace awkward silence. This helps the participants to speak. I have learned that I count 1 to 5 because I love talking sometimes. So that helps the user to, out of that silence, they would say something, try not to interrupt them. Second thing is taking time to do analysis right. Doing affinity map is a huge task. I like to watch videos, watch their body language, which tells us a little bit about, sometimes the words are different from what we are thinking. What we say is very different from what we think, and that can help. So taking time to do analysis right, doing the affinity mapping right, coming up with user insights takes about a week or more. Continuous learning. I would say that by now I have learned a lot. I'm proud of it, but I'm not satisfied. So I want to learn more and grow exponentially in the field of user experience. And with this, I end my case study and my presentation. Thank you so much. If you have any questions or concern, you can reach me via Slack or email me. It's my first name at wehealth.org. Thank you.